have that same scent throughout all of your locations in your store and have it multiple places. We have what's called scent sticks throughout here. So they actually look like incense. They're just little sticks that you can put into either behind a shelving unit or you can put into a floral display. But it's very strong. It emits this very strong fragrance. And that really ties your sense of smell into your memory of the store experience.
Also, the smell of burning wood. We do that too for Peek Around Dunn. Another one I would mention is, she mentioned earlier about checking the approach to your store. It's very hard if you go to your store every day to have that new experience. To go into your store and say, I'm a new customer. Because you're so used to it, it's very hard to have an outside perspective. Easy way to do that would be putting friends who don't regularly come to your store, say, hey, could you just do a walkthrough of my store and write off top 5 things that you noticed right away. And then customer service, ease of finding things, displays, things like that. And it's very helpful to have that outside perspective. Even if they're untrained, they're a customer, so they're going to have some sort of feedback for you.
Communicating a consistent theme. This is something that can be very difficult, I think, in any store environment, especially if you have a large product mix. It's hard to really make sure that everything within your store is communicating, again, a consistent theme. So once you've decided on those 3 words that you think really describe your store and what you want your customer to experience as they're walking through, you want to make sure that everything flows together. So again, like Emily said, it's difficult when you're in the store day to day. If you want to have someone with you while you're going through exercises like this that's not in your store every day, it's probably a good exercise to do. But stand at the front of your store and just look at the overall, what do I see when I first walk in? And does this all blend together? Or is there something that really sticks out as kind of an eyesore to me and it doesn't really quite consistently flow? So again, have those 3 words that you decided you want to describe your store in front of you and ask yourself, can I see each one of these 3 words really strongly communicated through my entire layout that's here at my store?
Another thing to think about is, now here, another day-to-day life would be, here at Peek Around Dunn, you see things as a customer that are kind of back office. You see the factory, obviously through all the 13 windows we have in the gallery. So something that Peter and all the staff here in the factory do really, really well is they upkeep it. They sweep, they maintain kind of organization, and they make it look as pretty as they can for the factory, as organized as they can, even though it's a back office space, because it's so on show. There's other things you don't think of, like your bathrooms, like closets and closets, even the storage place, or even when you have your loading dock. Things that people can see as glimpses, or things when doors are open that they can see to your back. If all of those are really organized and cleanly, it just gives a really good impression to people. It's like, oh, they're on the ball. They're on top of it. They're people that I can just attach themselves
because
to.
Emily and I are in this industry, it's really interesting when the 2 of us go shopping together because we just pick the entire time. We pick at everything that's within the store, and I'm sure you guys can relate to that. And I think one of the biggest turnoffs for both of us that we've both mentioned many times is when a back door opens and just a part-time employee or yourself is walking all the way to the back to get something, which happens quite often during the day, and all we see is clutter. A ton of boxes or a bunch of trash, and that's all we can immediately see. We're automatically like, okay, what's really going on here? This is a little scary. So even a quick fix, something like this, can you hang some cloth? Can you put something up that really either organizes the space itself, but we know you've got a million things to do, it's really difficult. So can you close that off to the customer's eye? Actually stand in your store and have someone open each door, each of your bathroom doors, each of your back room doors, the door to your office, and what do you see? It's really, really important. It's something that people forget about very often.
And it's very hard to upkeep. I understand that. A lot of employees, it's very hard to have them upkeep a level of just your day-to-day activities. You're going to create a mess. And so having to say, all right, guys, clean this up, but that's what it really takes, the overall image.
I'm going to let Emily take over here. Emily does, obviously, as you've seen, a great example of her work upstairs, a great job with layouts. We've got one example here, but I've learned a lot from her and working with her on the importance of having, number one, just a base layout, just something that just has your permanent fixtures, things that you cannot move very easily, your walls, and then kind of moving from there into the details and how that works with directing your traffic flow. So I'll let Emily go ahead.
I'm also, while I'm going to do this, that's a little fuzzy to see that layout, so I'm going to pass out a few layouts that actually aren't current to a store. Some of you might recognize them. The layout is really important. This is a top view of a store. All the little boxes you see represent fixtures. The green actually represents a pathway, a power aisle in this case. And each of the fixtures, if they're a different type of fixture, have a different color. Something to remember for you guys is, Dunn, we build our own fixtures. So I can say, hey, I want a greenhouse, or I can say, hey, I need a fixture that's 3 feet by 3 feet, because I keep on finding myself needing that. For a lot of you, you need to use vendors' fixtures. Even that, there's usually a consistent size and dimension that you can base off of. It's really handy. Inkscape is a free Google program that you can download, much like kind of OpenOffice. It's similar to something like Corel. I use Illustrator, Adobe Illustrator, and what it allows you to do is take the dimensions of your store, back office and all, and you can see the top view of it and say, where are my aisle ways? And then you can also look at the same time with your sales numbers and see where am I selling the most of? Like, is to the right my best selling area, to the left? And it can help you define why certain areas are your best sellers. It can also help you rotate your product better. But it can also, in this case, help you move people. What I like to do with layouts is literally move people. I like to say, okay, you're all going to start at the front, and I want you to have to work to get to the back. You don't want straight Walmart aisles where it's really convenient to go in and out, and leave. You want something that kind of
the customer to be through your store.
Forces and changes their pathway. It changes where they were going to go, and so they suddenly get veered off into a different direction that they might not have wanted to go, but they also might not know that you have that product. So it allows them to find a new product line that they didn't know you carried, or just kind of rediscover a new aspect of your store. And that's what you want. You don't want to straight shop through.
We spend countless hours just watching traffic flows before we even work on a layout. So watching, where are people stopping? What's the product that they're touching the most often? I think you'll notice in your stores a lot of times women like to touch things, they like to pick them up, and they'll stand there a little bit longer. Whereas guys are more interested in, what's your new product, where is it, I want to see it, and I want to get out of here. So kind of you have to really, as you're walking through designing this layout, you have to look to both of those customers. What's interesting is, one of the common mistakes that I see is your newest product or your best seller, a lot of times people will put front and center right in the middle of their store, right when you walk in. Well, if that's your best selling product, and it's right in the front of your store, and I am just coming in just to get that, what have I missed? The rest of your store, absolutely. So if it's your best selling product, then why is it front and center in the middle of your store? Why not back in a dark corner? That's one of the common mistakes that we see, and something that, again, Emily does a good job in with designing the layouts of where's your best seller and where can I move it. That forces you to look at everything else that I might have just brought in the store you might have missed the first time.
It also helps you direct what product goes where. So on a layout, you can see there's little words around the edges of the board. It shows what product needs to go there. So on your layout, this is a plan for your entire staff and you, and say, okay, my CDs are going to go here, my books are going to go here, Dunn product here, Pumper & Press product here. It allows you to plan out your store in the space that you have and allotting that space for however much or little you want a vendor to have. It also allows you to pick out color palettes. Unless your entire store is white, you probably going to want to change your color palette quite often, because that's the cheapest and easiest way to change the appearance of your store. So it allows you to say, okay, if I'm seeing this wall here in front of me, this wall's over here, these are the colors I would choose. It allows you to pick all that from the top view. It's very, very handy. It's a key that you're going to use for the rest of that year. I go on off of the year. I say, this is my year's planogram, it's up for Christmas, and a few other changes I'll be making. This is pretty much how it's going to look. Because you also have to see how many, I'm getting into something else, but how many repeat customers you have. If you have a repeat customer where a customer comes in once every 2 weeks, you need to change your front display every 2 weeks. So something new every time. If your repeat customer is once every 3 months, then you have to change your front displays once every 3 months. But just kind of counting familiar faces helps that too.
I worked for Limited Brands for about 5 years, and people never believe this, but our displays within our store, our core displays, changed every 2 weeks. On the dot, every 2 weeks. Every Sunday night, we were in there from 6 o'clock to midnight changing out a display. Now, that's